Bink, the humble monster.
Yeah, I had chicken salad.
This man eat more chicken than anybody, boy.
Gotta lay up that goddamn chicken though, man.
What? Yeah, that chicken they poisoned. Bill Gates poisoned chicken.
Poison ass chicken.
Man, if they want to get rid of the black population, all they got to do is poison the chicken.
That's all they've been doing. Shit. Excuse me. At the end of the day,
They're like, no, let's put in their chicken. Put in the grits. Put in the chicken. Put in the collard greens.
What's the weather out there now today?
It's nice. It's like 67, 70 degrees.
Oh, it's chilly, man.
Yeah.
It's chilly weather. Are you ready to get into it?
Yeah.
All right. So, let me go ahead and do the intro right quick. For my guy, please welcome Super Bowl champion, 3-time Pro Bowler defensive lineman, and podcast host, my guy, Michael Bennett. What's going on, my guy?
Man, just chilling, man. Trying not to get the coronavirus. It's everywhere, but everything else good.
You went far enough.
But you know what's so crazy, though? You know what's so crazy, though? Is like, it's one of those things, too, like with the coronavirus and stuff. Even though it's a virus and it has all these different things, it's like one of those things that make people, like, realize, like, trying to balance out what's, like, essential in your life. Like, what's the most important things in your life. And it's crazy. Sometimes you can't really focus on things like that into God or whatever I believe in God, and you might have a whole bunch of podcast listeners that don't believe into God, so I won't get into all those politics or whatever. But
right.
But it's one of those things where like you feel like God puts you in a situation where it's like you got to face like all these different issues, and it gets annoying though because it's just like, dang, like I've been trying to run away from this shit for like 2 years now. I gotta have the head on. I have nothing but time now. Like that dude said on that what's the name? I got time today.
No, I ain't got time, but today, I got time. For sure. I mean, if this pandemic ain't showed you that money and cars don't mean shit, I don't know what won't show you. I don't know what else can happen that won't show you that, you know what I'm saying? Or that will show you that. Like, material shit don't mean nothing right now, for real.
And it's so crazy, though, because it's like we living in such a materialistic world, like, right? I mean, like, even in the Bible or whatever biblical thing that people listen to, like it doesn't say that money is wrong, but it says like the love of money is the issue. And I think we come into a society where people just love it so much, they love the material, that it almost becomes like such a nuisance in their life. Like, I mean, it's okay, it's great to have nice things, but nice things shouldn't be our ultimate goal in life. Like nice things shouldn't be like the trump card for every moral decision that we make.
Oh, absolutely. But you grew up in Louisiana first?
Yeah,
then Cali, then Texas?
Yeah, Louisiana is kind of like where my family is from, like since like 1700. So it's like that's where we from. So it's like that's where they dropped off on a slave ship, and that's where they've been at for the whole period of time in this small town for long. You can go to the graves, and it's crazy when you look at a grave, and that shit say 1794 or some shit. That shit just blows your mind. And like, but that's how long they've been there for. So, but then I went and moved to Louisiana, and Louisiana was like, moved to California, and that was like a whole nother vibe. Like living in San Diego back in the 90s where gangs were like crazy. Like, I remember the first time I seen a dead body, I was like 9 or 10 years old.
Just in a park somewhere in the field?
It was an apartment because like in where I grew up in California in San Diego, like they had like all these little stone things for drive-bys you get in because it was a drive-by. They were like that was back when, gang violence is big now, but I remember back in the 90s feel like it was even crazier, you know what I'm saying? I seen a dead body just in the apartment complex just laying in the ground, like somebody just killed him, like boom, just laying right there. People just walking by. Like that was my first time seeing a dead body. It was kind of blew my mind.
So when you saw boys in the hood and they was like, "You want to see a dead body?" You were like,
that was real.
Was that minutes of boys in the hood?
I feel like that was like in Boys in the Hood. That was like kind of like what, like literally to me, like being in California in the '90s. I feel like that was kind of like really like what it was.
That's so. What what would you say you got most of your game from? From all of those three places?
I'll say Louisiana because Louisiana was like I feel like California was like a hard place, but like it was like violence hard, but it wasn't like working hard. Like in Louisiana, people work hard. Like they go and they farm, they move, they like really do work with their hands. You know what I'm saying? They do
Right.
work that's like honest living, and that's kind of how I built up my strength there. Because I spent most of my summers and most of my time in Louisiana, like, and so that's where I really learned how to play football. Honestly, like playing there because we got a lot of land out there. And so we used to play football in the front yard against other people's families, and like it was just like a hardcore, like hard tackling, like so it was a
All right.
different type of vibe.
So you six what?
6'4".
So how tall were you at 10?
I don't know. I had to be like at least 5'10", probably.
That ain't even right.
Yeah, but from like 8 to 9, I was in the hospital for like a year. So I spent like almost a year and a half in the hospital.
Oh, what happened?
I had a ruptured appendix and it went septic, like it was all in my whole stomach. So they had to clean up my whole intestines and all that kind of stuff. So I was in the hospital, like, and to be honest, that was kind of one of the things that kind of like really like to this day, like that's probably why I don't see a lot of boundaries or whatever, because I've seen so much at like a young age. Like I've seen like kids like with like crazy burns and like stuff that they can never get past, like gunshot wounds and stuff like that. And it's like one of those things where I just seen so much, and it kind of like just kind of built my character up to be like, man, there's no limits to you to recovering, or there's no limits to your human self. Like I seen kids recover from some crazy stuff at a young age. And like being in the hospital, man, I remember telling my parents, Black parents are like, you going to school. You going to school. I don't care what you say, you going to school today. And I was like, Mom, my stomach hurt. Like, I don't know. It don't feel right. I don't, like, and as a parent, like I feel like in the Black community, a lot of times, the African American community, we kind of like hospitals, like we don't really do hospitals like at the Tuskegee Airmen, all that kind of stuff. Like we gotta see you physically dying, physically choking. Like we can't really, when you get to the hospital, it's almost too late sometimes. Like, sir, if you'd have came here 2 months ago, we could have saved your life. You know what I mean? But
Mama gonna put some Vaseline and tussin on it.
Yeah, drink some salt water. You can gargle it and don't swallow it salt. Spit it out and you should be good now. So, but yeah, I told my mom and she was like, nah, then I went to school, I started throwing up this yellow stuff. But I was like, I don't know, I didn't eat nothing yellow, but it was like acid and poison and all the stuff because your appendix like holds all the nasty stuff. And so it was coming out my mouth or whatever, and I was throwing it up and stuff. And then finally I went to a doctor like later that day. I had to have emergency surgery like that day. They said, if you didn't come, you probably would have died.
That's crazy. So how many years you and your brother apart?
We're just 1 year apart.
So was that still a big brother role, or was that, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's still a big brother. I think it's one of those things too. Me and my brother are so close, and I think the reason we're so close too is like it's not very often. Like I feel like in life, like brothers and sisters, they grow up and then like, and you get to a certain age, at 18, and you kind of, and everybody starts to go their own way, like kind of in 20s and 30s. Everybody like somebody live in Virginia, everybody living in different areas. And
Right.
everybody kind of like they did certain amount of stuff they experienced with their family for a long period of time. But as you get older, you start experiencing the world and meeting new people, and they kind of shape your future a little bit, right? But for me and my brother, we didn't have that. We just kind of we always did everything together, all the way to college, all the way to the NFL. So it's like our relationship was symbiotic because it was very similar in growth and it's very similar in experiences. So it was always like really close. So we always kept that big brother role, and I think even to this day, like we still bounce ideas off each other. Like that's the first person I kind of run to when I have an idea, and we kind of talk it out, and we kind of go from there.
How tall is your brother?
6'8".
Why the baby always be bigger, right? That shit be crazy.
Mama's doing the first baby. My mom was like 16 when she had me, so she probably was giving me Enfamil and shit. Probably gave him breast milk.
Man, my grandma had all 5 of her kids before she was 19.
That's great. That's how my mom was too. She was like 20 before your grandma was 19. My mom was 21.
Knocked it out right quick.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine though. Sometimes I like in my book, like I was talk about it in the book, like Like, sometimes like with parenting, like you don't realize how hard parenting is, right? You don't realize like the amount of, like when you become a parent, you just have to give so much. You have to take away from yourself. Like it's a really hard thing to do, but it's like you got these goals and you have to balance those goals in between raising kids and sacrificing some stuff that you want. There's sometimes you just want to just do what you need to do for 3 months. Like, nigga, if I was cooking for 3 months, like, nigga, it would be, but it's like you can't do that because you got to be there for your kids. And I look because my mom and my dad, they got divorced. It was high school sweethearts. They had 5 kids early, and so like I lived apart from my mom for a long period of time. And then when you're a kid, you kind of don't understand that kind of stuff and you can't comprehend it. But then when you become an adult and you start to build up all this hate for somebody, and you start build up with this not understanding, like, well, why? Then you get older, then you understand. You're like, damn, this shit is kind of hard. Like, and then you kind of keep going to forgiving mode. Like, you know what, mom, like, you might have did something wrong, but there's some places I could have did better too. I think that takes a lot of
That
effort to
part.
realize. Yeah.
Yeah, hindsight is 2020, man. Because my parents split up when I was in the fifth grade. You know what I'm saying? So you trying to figure out. You tend to blame yourself for some reason.
Yeah.
I know I did. You know what I'm saying? You like maybe it's my fault they broke up or whatever, or they ain't together. So to this day, that's why I got the tattoo of my mom and pops on my arm. That was the only way they was gonna get back together. You know what I'm saying? That was the only way. You know what I'm saying? Was to put them on my arm. But yeah, it was like it's definitely it's crazy to lose your parents because that's what I'm saying. Like it don't make sense to you at all.
It don't make no sense to you. It don't make no sense. It is a void, right? And then even in the sports world, a lot of times, like, a lot of the white coaches, not to bring race into this, but race is a part of everything we do in this world. And it's like, when you look at a lot of white coaches, they kind of like, they so used to seeing people without parents or seeing people without dads that they try to be in those places, but they be like, I'm like, I don't need a dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, just coach me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
homie and a coach.
Yeah, like it's like whenever you have a dad and he stays around, that kind of means a lot. It's almost like it's like a trophy in the Black community, kind of sometimes, because sometimes it's like, and sometimes it don't be the father choice. Sometimes people could be so scorned because of what the other person did to them, and they feel like the kid is the only way to really to get back at them. That's the thing that they really care about, whether
That's
it's
the
the
last
male or
piece of the
female.
puzzle. That's the last piece of the puzzle as a kid.
Yeah, it's like I'm holding on to this a little bit. It could be the man or the woman who does it, and it's just like people can be very vindictive sometimes. And I think it isn't until like we realize that like when we take away the kids, we really take away from. When we take away the kid, we think we're hurting them, but we're really hurting the kids. You know what I'm saying? And it's really hard for parents. And it's really hard for parents to be like to stay friends. Like whenever, like especially when adultery is a part of the relationship breakup. And that's usually what really happens. People don't really come to each other like, I haven't been in love with you for a while. And I think sometimes with love too, like it's one of those things where like we don't nurture love enough for it to continue to grow.
I mean, certain generations they get mad, like, forget you. All right, done. I'm done. All right, cool. Out. Like no work. Really, you know what I'm saying? No really real work put into anything. You know what I'm saying? It's like once somebody pitch you out, like I'm out. You out. You know what I'm saying?
And then it's sometimes it's like you could be physically there but be mentally gone, you know what I'm saying? And that's really the hardest one though, because it's like I'm here, but nigga, I'm mentally, nigga, I'm somewhere else. And I think that happens in a lot of people, especially when people have kids at a young age. I think kids too, like when you're young, I was thinking like my mom was 16. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Pregnant, and she had 2 kids at 17. Like that's
imagine,
insane.
bro. Like,
bro, no, I couldn't even.
You know how stupid I was at 16.
Exactly.
But
that's why. And that's why I kind of build up the sense of empathy for it. Like you can't really love the world or do stuff for the world if you ain't really kind of mended your own spiritual wounds and stuff like that. So it's like a lot of that happens, but people don't.
Part, and it's not until you get older that you really understand what areas that affected you in. You know what I'm saying?
That part
like
for real.
Real shit. Like I didn't even really understand the trauma that I was dealing with until later, because you end up dealing with somebody bringing all that baggage to them.
And that's crazy too, because it's so hard. Like when you look at, it's like when we look at somebody, like when people look at people for relationships, they always look at it as like the outer, like oh, this she got a big ass. So it's like they got missed. Like, but then on the inside, who knows what the type of person, what kind of trauma they dealt with on the inside?
What is going on?
You said, and then you bring it in, and two people with trauma, trying to manage that, adding kids to it. That's a lot. People don't talk about that enough.
Like, I mean, Fab said it on my record: "A hurt woman and a damaged dude." Nobody win when the family feuds. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a hell of a line. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, that line right there, bro. That line resonates with the world too, because it's like so many people are really damaged goods, and when you hurt and damaged, and when you mix those two together, they like oil and water. They do not mix
At all.
Explosion.
When did you know that you actually love football? Like, when you know that was gonna be your path? Was that early?
You know what? Like, I never really knew. I like football, and it was kind of one of those things too. Being in Texas, like, football is such a big part of everybody's life, man. I actually thought I was gonna be like a chef or something. I don't know. I was like a movie director, like those kind of things. That's kind of thing I wanted to be. And I always loved music. Like, I grew up like in Texas, like music. So it was like, I don't know. I feel like football kind of really came to in high school, and I was like, like this. I mean, it can be bad. Like, you can make a lot of money doing it. You can be good. It's a lot. But I think it was in high school when I really, really fell in love with the first time I really felt like a real injury. I feel like in middle school and elementary, you don't really get injured like that. And I remember in 9th grade, I broke my ankle, and all I could think about was like getting back on the field. And I was like, dang, if you break your ankle and you feel a certain amount of pain for something, you feel a certain amount of pain through something, and you could go back to it. It's like what they say, like, you can't without sacrifice, there's no righteousness, right? And it isn't until you had that one moment of that sacrificial part of your life, and then you realize that, dang, I really love this, and that's when your eyes start to open up. And I think when I got injured, they opened up for me.
So I'm thinking the coaches probably figured it out before you did.
Yeah, I mean, I played offense for a long time. I was running back for until like 11th grade.
What?
Yeah, I didn't play defense until like 10th, 11th grade almost.
So how tall were you when you graduated?
I was 6'4", 240.
A 6'4". That was some Eric Dickerson shit.
Yeah, to this one guy who was better than me. He came out there, dude named Courtney Madge, man. He was so good. I was good, but then I was like kickoff returns and doing all this stuff, running kickoff returns back and jet sweeps and stuff. But this dude, he was like 5, and I was like 6'1", 6'2" at that time. Maybe 6'1", but he was like 6 foot, like 245, running back, running like 4'4". Nobody could tackle him. He was fast. Like, he didn't have the grades, man. If he had the grades, he couldn't get like Nebraska on him, like all kinds of stuff. But he could never pass his test. So he never really he went to TSU. And like, sometimes you go to TSU, it's like it's a lot different in football experience than like going to Texas A&M. Like, I went to A&M and it was a whole different experience as far as like college football.
I mean, that's a hell of a football program anyway. Like, just the history on Texas A&M is like insane.
Yeah, it's crazy insane, right? Because it's like one of those things where we have like such a tradition. It's like a tradition, like, and it's something about having traditions in anything, and having traditions make it more culturally. Like, you just get so attached to like the players who came before you, and they become like part of your lives too.
So, who was your favorite team like in high school? Like,
my favorite team growing up was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Why?
I love Warren Sapp. I love.
One, I had to be somebody. I had to be the player.
Shelton Quarles. I love Derek Brooks. I love everybody on the defense. Like, it was just the Booger McFarland.
They did have there was a hell of a team on the game too that year too though.
I was lucky too. On game day '99.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite game too. With Terrell Davis too, you could do the little jump step. But it's crazy though, because I literally end up getting coached by the coach that coached them, and so it was like just one of those things where, you look up to those people. I love defense. Rondé Barber, like, they just had like a stacked defense, and like it come in one after another. Greg Spires, this crazy amount of players on that defense, and I used to watch them. I used to love defense. So,
which is pretty much what the Legion of Boom was at the end of the day, like just a squad full of talented people on one, you know what I'm saying, like one roster. You know what I mean?
The crazy thing about them though is like, literally, honestly, there's never been a more famous team in the NFL than that team that I was on. When you talk about culturally, like, you talk about people, when you think about like people who, like, you couldn't turn the TV on without seeing somebody from my team on a commercial. Like, we're stacked with superstars on every single level, and we didn't come into the league as superstars. We made ourselves superstars, right? So we had like a stacked defense for real.
So did your brother make you better, or did you make your brother better? What you think?
I think it's even. I think we make each other better in a lot of ways. Like I think there's not a lot of times you could be honest with somebody, and I think sometimes we make each other better because we're honest with each other and we give each other honest assessments of what's really happening and how it affects us personally and how it affects our whole spectrum of life and our little ecosystems that we have. And I think we both make each other better when it comes to that in that point of view.
But you dibble and dab in track and field too, though. I'm trying to figure out who you throwing the javelin. Who was you doing in track and field?
Shot put.
What's that? The ball joint?
Yeah. Shot put and discus. I was good.
So what was your longest throw? You remember?
I can't even remember. It was over 160 something at the discus.
Man, child, I was 5'4" in high school, bro.
Dang. How tall are you now, though?
I'm 5'10". I'm 5'10" now. I graduated at 5'7".
Hey, it's crazy though, because I feel like all the people in the music industry are little. Like I mean, the first time I saw Kendrick Lamar, I was like, "Wait, this the nigga? The nigga they talking about Good Kid, Mad City? Like it's like crazy. Like it's crazy. Like all the rappers like really little, like little baby, like little tiny people. Like they just tiny.
That's how I felt when I met Mobb Deep. I was like, no way. Like Mobb Deep, like this is one of the most violent records I got in my stash. These dudes are like 5'6".
Just crazy.
Like literally, like still love their music to this day though.
Oh, they production is crazy too.
Was you a Mobb Deep fan?
This breathe.
You was a Mobb Deep fan though back then?
Yeah, I mean, I was especially when like when that one album that he produced for The Game, because I used to like The Game a lot too. And last night I was a nigga that shot up your projects, get to some like like The Game used to be good, but he got kind of corny a little bit.
I wasn't really there, but did you know or did you have an idea that you weren't gonna get drafted?
No, I didn't have no idea. I didn't know. I mean, I thought I was gonna get drafted. You know, everybody think they're gonna get drafted. Anytime you do something, you think that something great gonna come out of it. Very rarely that you do something and be like, man, I'm gonna be shitty. Like your shit gonna suck. But it is like, but I just think being undrafted was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. It made me kind of put stuff into perspective. Like I said, it put me back into my survival mode. And I think I'm at my best in my survival mode, like the mode of like, like, look, I gotta overcome. Like sometimes I feel like if you grow up with and I think that's the hardest thing too. Like when you reach a certain amount of success, and now your kids don't have that same oomph about themselves, that same level of tenacity and that same level of that they should never ever give up because they've been given so much they don't know what it feels like to go in the refrigerator and don't have no food in it. They don't know what this like. They live in a secluded world. And like, as soon as you say no, they cry. You're like, dang, my mama said no 100 times before she said yeah. You know what I'm saying? I say yeah 100 times before I say no. And the one time I say no, you mad.
And dared you to cry.
Yeah. So I feel like I was like being undrafted was it put me in a position like to survive and not to take anything for granted.
But 09 rookie season, like was you nervous or were you built for it? You was just ready to get to it?
I think I was built for it. I mean, I grew up playing football. I never really feared anybody, honestly. I think I just went out there with the mindset of like, look, I got my baby girl, I got my wife up here. Like, this what we doing. This what we doing. And I had to just put it on my shoulders and just be like, I'm gonna go out here and dominate during the preseason. And I did a great job of the preseason. I actually made the team, but then towards the end of the week, towards the third, fourth week, they was like, oh, we need to move one guy up because they told me at the beginning of the season they wasn't gonna play me. They were just gonna train me and get me ready for the next year. And so I was looking forward to that, and ended up going down to Tampa, and they cut me and they was like, we're gonna bring you up the next day, and Tampa claimed me. It was kind of a weird situation though, because you don't really know the ins and nuances of football. I think, I feel like high school football was so pure, like it was so pure, because it was like, look, we're going against that hood over there. They talking, they trying to get at our girls, they trying to be us. There's like, it's a way different vibe. The NFL is just so many so much. It's just so much little small things that like you don't even understand what it's like getting cut, like doing this, getting traded. It's just a lot of different moving parts. But I think in high school it was just so pure and just like just talent. Like wasn't no trainers, wasn't no nothing. We just went out there and just played great football. I remember we used to always eat Dairy Queen before the game. Like I would never eat Dairy Queen
Dairy
before.
Queen.
We
Dairy
get ice
Queen.
cream Sunday. Like nigga, why our stomach hurt in the second grade? Like,
What you think? I was getting that triple cheeseburger. I used to go to Dairy Queen out here, getting that triple cheeseburger out of there, man. And that banana split. That was my thing.
Man, what was that one that chocolate dip cone? We used to get that young boy be out there, but third quarter, like, oh, my stomach hurt.
Yes.
But no, but you know what though? It was just pure though. I think in high school it was just pure football. College was good, but I think college you really start to see the business of it. Like you just see you get glimpses of it. Like they try to keep you in like the shell, but every once in a while you'll take a glimpse and look out and be like, oh, this ain't real. Like, you know what I'm saying? But then when you get to the NFL, you really, really, really see the business and like seeing stuff like when people injured and like they want them to come back, but then they want to cut them, so they'll have them come out there and oh, you look good, you look so good, go out there and practice. So you practice, you get done practicing, your ass getting cut.
But it's like pros is like just learning the plays alone is like a challenge. You know what I'm saying? Just learning that playbook and just, you know what I mean?
Actually, I feel like you kind of gotta be kind of slow not to know the playbook on defense. Like defense is like I feel like defense is it's really about concepts. I think everything is really about concepts. Like when you start to grasp the concepts of something, like it could be interchangeable. Like you were saying about when you were talking about like making beats, and you were talking about like when you get the concept of doing the thing, like that's how it really is. Like once you get the concept of how the defenses are playing, and they put you in another one, you can just use your mind and be like, oh, this means this in this formation. Like, but people can't. A lot of people don't do that. I don't know why. It's so easy at the end of the day. Like, I didn't play in every type of defense. It really only took like 2 weeks to learn the playbook.
It's always that one player that somebody got to come grab by his shoulder pads. Like, man, you supposed to be right here, bro. Like, what you doing? Like, bro.
But I could imagine that in the music game too, where it's like you say, like you could be like, man, you're supposed to be right here and there. Like you missing it. Like you missing the wave. Like,
what are you doing, bro? You a slot. You in the slot on this one. Like, bro, cover two. Like, it's like just looking at, like, when you playing Madden, you see all these different, you know what I'm saying, dime, nickel, 3, you know what I'm saying, 3, 4. Like, it's like just knowing where you're supposed to be. Like, plus the offense will give you a different look that'll confuse you sometimes. So it's like people screaming. So it's like just having all those elements playing football.
But I was explaining that to somebody the other day when they were talking about African American coaches, NFL not having enough African American coaches, and I was telling them, I was like, look, the opportunities for African American coaches aren't really there, right? And it's not a lot of people getting those opportunities. But then, like, how many of us as African American kids wanted to be coaches? And he was like, no, a lot. But I was like, think about it. But more people really want to be coaches than they really realize it. Because when they play in Madden, they're really coaching. They coaching the team. They're picking the scheme. They're doing all these different things. They managing the team. They doing coaching. They don't even know that they love it. Like, but they only see the one part of it. It's like, I was telling them, like, we need to start doing coaching camps. Like, why don't we do coaches camp and show kids what it is like to be a coach? Like, if there's so much of kids that might be like 5'3" that can't be in the NFL, but they love football. They love it, but they end up being a high school coach or this kind of coach because they don't know the journey of it. But a lot of the white players, their uncle who's 5'3" is a coach, so they get put into the line and to know how to coach. But I was like, there's an opportunity to start putting it into kids' mind. What do you think? You can't play? Like, wait, you could be a coach. You know, back in Seattle, I used to bring kids into the program and like different kids from around the Seattle area and bring them to the facility and let them see how many different jobs was inside that building. And it just blew their mind because they used to go to like different areas. It's like, oh, I could be in media. Like, if you love media and you love football, you could be in the media part. You love equipment, you could be in equipment. You love there's so many different jobs that a lot of people don't know about the NFL that if they love it, they don't have to be a player to be a part of it.
You just gave some game right there. That's for sure. Did you feel like 2012 was your best year, Tampa, as far as?
No, I feel like it was my best early year, but over years I feel like the stats just kept getting better and better. But I feel like 2012 was like I feel like it was just kind of like a preview of what I could really be. I think the year before I was kind of like filling it out and kind of really started getting playing time in that year before, like towards the end of the season. And that year I got way more playing time. I became a starter full time. and I just be that's when I kind of started taking off. And then I went to Seattle, and that was like a whole nother vibe. It was, but I know I love Tampa though. Tampa was a good vibe, but I mean, me and Gerald McCoy, we had like a good young defensive line. I feel like if we just stayed together for like 3 or 4 more years, like we probably would have had one of the top defense lines in the NFL because we had Gerald, we had me, we had Adrian Claiborne. We had like enough role players to make like a real impact on the defensive line.
So were you mad when you left, or you was happy you got up out of there?
No, I was disappointed because it was one of those things where I talked to the GM. He was like, "Oh well, we're not gonna franchise you, but we're gonna pay you just $2 million under the franchise." And I ended up taking less money to go to Seattle because I was just like, look, I didn't play through all these injuries and done all this stuff, and you trying to hit me with the okie doke, like that's a complete. I was supposed to, like I had went down to Miami and I visited Miami. I had like 4 visits, and then Pete Carroll and Dan Quinn, he was my coach. He had left when I left. He had left the year before. The year after I left, he was a defensive line coach, and he had went to Florida University. And then when I had came back for free agency, he had went back to Seattle and became a D coordinator. And then he was like, "I need you back," like because he just remember him vibe so well. Like he was the one that showed me like, "Hey, you play right here, you play right here." It ain't about just being one position. It's about being able to be a weapon. And so that's what he kind of taught me.
How was your greeting? How was your welcome to Seattle? Was it like, oh man, we needed you, bro? Or you had to go in there and earn your keep?
My rookie year though, like I always like because my rookie year I was in Seattle. I actually loved Seattle the first time because it was like I used to live in Washington when I was a kid because my dad was in the military. I lived there for like 2 years or whatever. And I remember like certain parts of it and the greenery and stuff. So I got back up and I was like, man, it's so green up here. Being in Texas was so flat. I haven't seen anything like that in a while. Because keep in mind we traveled, but we didn't travel the way that I travel now. And so when I got back to Seattle, I was like, I love it. So when the opportunity came to go back, I was like, man, I did love it up there. It was nice up there. So we just jumped in full arms. And then plus one of my closest friends was still on the D line here. We went to college together, and him and his wife and all of us, we all went to college. And so he was still here. So I ended up living with him for a couple of weeks.
Who you feel like put the hardest hit on you?
The hardest hit on me?
On you.
Jones.
Walter Jones got you?
The Walter Jones, those are practice too, because he was already a Hall of Famer when I got there. He didn't really practice much or whatever. And I was a rookie, so I was going hard. Like there was nobody stopping me. I go so hard, people would be like, man, this dude is just like going so hard at a ridiculous level. Like I was going so hard that I got a 3rd rounder cut. You know what I'm saying? Because I played him like that. Like so it was like, and so Walter Jones grabbed me when he's like, I told you chill, and he got me the next time, threw my hands across that field like a motherfucker. So he was strong, man.
How big is Walter Jones, man?
Man, he could block the sun out, man. He a huge human.
What, he play nose tackle or something?
No, he played offensive tackle. He's one of the best offensive tackles that ever played in the NFL.
So taller than you then?
He bigger everything than me. His head so big right now, but his body, he got so skinny, but his head so big. I'm like, how you get so skinny but your head so wide?
The genetics.
But I had a chance to play with some of the greatest players in the NFL, like people that I dreamed about, like dreamed of wanting to be like as a kid. I had those opportunities to be in the same locker room with them, and I was constantly learning. Like even every year I was trying to learn more from different players and what they were doing.
So you getting your Super Bowl is like equivalent to me getting a Grammy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you won the championship to go to the Super Bowl, how hype were you? How was you turned up?
I was super turned up, but you know what though? I think it's harder reference because I feel like with the NFL, like you could kind of go and kind of make your own path. But I feel like with the record company, like you can't really like it's dependent on other people's opinion of your music. But I guess it would be equivalent when you think about actually holding something that you truly been working hard your whole life for in your certain genre of business, right? But I feel like when I won that, I feel like it was like 2 feelings. Like it was like a great feeling, but then there was also a sense of emptiness.
Say it again?
It was a sense of emptiness too. Like it was a great feeling, but it was also a sense of emptiness.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because it was like one of those things where like when you work for something like and you find out that it's not really nothing really is just kind of like it doesn't change your day. Like it doesn't hold this, like, I don't know, maybe because you put so much into wanting something so much and what it would feel like, what the validation would feel like and what it would be like in your hand. And then you feel like it, you grab it and you realize like, it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. Like it's just a material thing. Like it's really not even the actual trophy. It's actually the journey to get the trophy that you are really cherishing. Like the people that you really made. Like like you said, like in music, if you do a Grammy, it's like how many times did we do that take? Man, I added that extra sound, and that sound was the one that took the album over the top. But it's just like that.
So you probably more like me. You probably ain't really feel it until y'all start doing press that morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the reporters in your face and asking you all these questions, and everybody's like screaming and waiting out there early, for you while you're doing your workouts. Like I'm feeling like that's when it probably starts sinking in for real.
Yeah, and then plus, I was literally on one of the greatest defensive lines in the history of the game. So we was just like, we was really more about our money. We was really about our money. Like at the time, we used to be like, man, we don't care about this trophy as long as our check clear. Like that was our mindset. Was like, look, bro, we not going nowhere until we was about to get paid. And so that was really kind of how we were.
That's, bruh, I'm just thinking about it though, like, because I know how I was, like, I had been in the game 5 years prior to working with Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, nobody really recognized me until I worked with Jay-Z.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like, it was a difference in my, I guess my persona to people. Like people looked at me like, okay, he's more of a big deal now. So it's like Super Bowl is the same thing. It's like once you get Super Bowl, it's like, oh, that's not just Michael Bennett. That's Super Bowl champ Michael Bennett from, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely a title. I think it's one of those things that you get a title and that title carries on with you. And you, in life, you just keep gathering titles. So it kind of pulls you apart from regular people. Like, oh, he don't have that. But the thing I like to think about is that, like, it isn't until you get that certain platform that people can really recognize your talent, because it doesn't mean that your talent is different from when you were doing music before. It's just that other people can recognize it because you have that platform. And I feel like that's what kind of happened in Seattle. A lot of us were really good, really great players, but people didn't really recognize us until they saw us on TV way more than they used to. Like, oh, this guy's kind of good. I feel like, I guess music is like that too. Like this, like you like, man, you look back, you're like, man, like he was making this shit. The shit he was doing back in the day was better than the shit they did with Jay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like you kind of just trying to get that.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. Because people were like, yo, so, you just get in the game. Like, actually, I've been doing this for like 5 years. Like, so then it's like people always got to go research my record and be like, oh, I didn't know you did that. I didn't know you did. But it's like the respect level just shot through the roof, bro, just from just having that affiliation with Jay. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's the same thing. Like I said, it's the same thing with certain accolades, Grammy, Super Bowl, Oscar. You know what I mean? People just like, oh. It's like,
but I feel like you one of those people too that's like super great at what you do, but like really people just be like they don't need, because it's almost, I guess because you're not one of those people. Like I feel like there's like people like me and you, like I feel like we talk to type of people like we really good at what we do, but we don't really go out gloating about it so much that people got to recognize it. Like and maybe that might be a flaw of ours too. Like maybe, but then also seem like that's the thing that makes us good at what we do, because we're not constantly like trying to bombard you. Like I feel like there's a lot of producers or a lot of players that are constantly putting themselves as like doing stuff, and to me it just seems like it's really corny. Like it's just like it takes away from what the true essence of the skill is. You know what I'm saying? Like you constantly promote. Like if you're a boxer, I get it. Like you're a boxer, you gotta promote yourself. But I feel like sometimes with music or what's name, it's like people start liking people because the person just keeps saying they good. Like you're like, well, they must be good. Like like DJ Khaled. Like people like, it's like at the end of the day you be like you're like, damn, DJ Khaled, like, does he rap? Like you don't even know at the end of the day, but he been so, we the best, I'm the best. God, like it's just like people just start like buying into it really fast.
Straight buying into it. But do you feel like now that we've been watching this Last Dance thing with Michael Jordan, you feel like Legion of Boom got a story like that?
I think we didn't win as many championships of it as they did, but I think we did have a whole bunch of talented people on a whole nother level that had crazy beliefs and also crazy ideas about themselves, and also had crazy personalities. And I think if you talk about personality, we were definitely up there in personality. I would say we had more personality than them, because their personality was very limited. They had Michael Jordan, who was who he was, and they had Scottie Pippen, who he was, and then they had Dennis Rodman. But we had like a lot of different people who had different beliefs but came together. So And I feel like if we'd have won that one, we would have ran the ball, and then I think we would have came back in the third year. We probably would have won 3 in a row because even that year that the Carolina went, we Carolina only had 117 yards against us in that game. You know what I'm saying? So it was like if Russell Wilson would have thrown them 3 interceptions in the first quarter, like shit, we probably would have won that game.
That part. That part. Go ahead.
I was about to say, it's just like even like Russell Wilson now, like I'm like, thinking Russell Wilson was like, he better on offense than he was when we was there. We was a defensive team. Like if you matched that offense with the defense that we had, we probably would have won 4 or 5 because the offense was great now.
I read something about him. He got like the third largest hand in the.
Yeah,
in the
he's talented though. He's one of the most talented quarterbacks I've been around. I'll probably put him in top 4 quarterbacks I've ever been around, top 3.
Top 3.
Mm-hmm.
You how mad was you when y'all didn't run Marshawn Lynch on that goal line, bro? Like,
you know what? I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad. I just was disappointed because at the end of the coaching game, I think it came down to like that was the pivotal point of the game. And we don't know what could have happened, but we assumed that we won and we would have won the game. And that's the crazy thing about assumptions is like assumptions are like crazy because it's like when you assume something, it alters the whole reality. It alters like 20 realities, like because we start assuming. And we start to put these inceptions in our minds. So we don't really know what really happened. He could have ran. They could have stuffed him, you know what I'm saying? But also defensively, like we lost a lot of people in the second half, and I think we the defense we played better and kept them from scoring 20 points. We probably would have won that game too.
I know I was pissed.
Yeah, it was a tough game though. It was a tough game though. A lot of people lost a lot of money too.
I was like, "Are you serious? Not running him right now, bro?" But like most players aren't outspoken when it comes to, social injustice and just politics, period. And it seemed like you had a certain stance with Cap, you know what I'm saying, with the whole, kneeling thing, which was ballsy, you know what I'm saying? Most of those guys in the NFL don't have the balls or the heart to do that. So how did that affect your, your relationship with certain people in the league?
I mean, I grew up like my whole growing up in my existence was around Black identity. Like, my stepmom went to Grambling University, so I spent a lot of times at Grambling. Like, so I went to visit Eddie Robinson. I did like NAACP camps as a kid. So I was doing all this stuff, learning about history of Black people. Like, I started reading Malcolm X books like when I was like 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, I studied like my punishment growing up was reading the encyclopedia, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, I grew up like reading a lot, reading and understanding so much. And I growing up in that small town, I seen racism a lot. So like, this was nothing new to me, like to speak on like social issues. I used to get in trouble in college because I was like, they used to call me Michael X, you know what I'm saying? Because I was so like, I wasn't really radical. I was just speaking the truth, like what it was like to really be the existence and challenging those things. So it was normal for me. I think in the world, like when you like, so what Colin Kaepernick was doing, I was like, that's right. What we need to be doing as athletes and what we need to be doing as Black men. Like there's a sense of people who came before us, and I think our job as Black people and African American people, what you want to say, is like we have a duty and obligation, subconsciously and consciously, like to continuously standing on the shoulders of our ancestors, right? Because as soon as we start to lack in movement, it actually puts a block in our kids' future. Because like once we stop moving and thinking about like, could you imagine if the people who were slaves are like, it's not gonna get better, so let's just stay slaves. Like, should we still be slaves? Jim Crow, like it's a progression. Like, and so what he was doing was just a progression within the athletes world. But I think a lot of sponsors and coaches, they were unsure what the fan base was doing, right? Because we live in a world where everything is judged online, and I think sometimes being judged online is more scary than being judged in person, because when you judge in person, that's between you and that person, but when you judge online, it's the personification of what other people are thinking about you around the world.
Sheesh, it's that online situation, boy. Don't even go down that rabbit hole.
No, like, online is a constant.
Online is vicious, bro. If you ever get bored and you just feel like laughing, pick a star Instagram page and just go on a picture and just read the comments. Yo, you got some mean ass people out here, yo.
People hate, man. Being evil. I believe this, and that's just me. People hate that I say this. I believe people are born evil and taught to be good. That's just what I believe, and people don't believe that, but that's what I believe. I believe people do evil shit before they do good shit.
So it's like you innocent before proven guilty, or you
Yeah.
guilty before proven innocent.
Is you evil until you're proven good. Cause I be seeing babies be doing some evil shit, putting food in your mouth and taking it out. Like why is that amusing you? You taking food, like it's amusing, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Gotcha, bitch.
yeah, kids be doing evil shit.
So what was in your earphones like doing warm-ups? Like what was you listening to for the most part?
My earphones, first of all, it's Nipsey Hussle. Like I got nipped in there, like all right, get right, all right. Like that was one of my favorite ones. Of course, Rick Ross. Probably I did Serotonin Grease, and I did Rich Off Cocaine, and then I got a little bit of Kanye in there. Crack music. That was one of my favorite songs. Just that crack music, nigga. That real black music, man.
Oh, I forgot about that joint.
Yeah, that was one of my joints. So I mean, and then I would kind of, I guess, and then Future, like March Madness, that was one of my favorite songs, and so there's like, yeah, stuff like that. And then old school for sure, like Everybody Loves the Sunshine.
We just used that.
Huh?
I said we just used that.
I mean, that's my favorite song. I mean, that's one of my favorite songs because that song has so many different meanings, like a triple entendre. So those are my favorite artists kind of growing up. And I mean, not really. Oh yeah, Beanie Siegel is one of my favorite too. So I love Beanie Siegel. That's one of my favorite rappers. And all the time they
The old Beanie?
Old Beanie, like it's on, like it's on, like you could slide down a razor bird sliding board. Like, come on, like Beanie Siegel was like that's why I used to listen to, like, I got all Beanie albums. So I used to listen to Beanie Siegel a lot, like old school, like Purple Rain, like all that kind of stuff.
Purple Haze.
No, he got the song about
it's called Purple Haze. Don't blow my high, Purple Haze.
Purple Haze, yeah.
Yeah, he just changed the words up. Yeah. Shout out to DJ Scratch because he produced that one.
And that was. Oh yeah, and UGK. I grew up listening to UGK all the time. So UGK was always on my Pimp C was one of my favorite artists growing up.
Yeah, a very diverse playlist.
Oh yeah, man. But like I said, Beanie Siegel was I was mad when because Beanie, man, like, even though lyrically he'd be on there, but it was just so gangster, bro. Then it was like every song he made, like you could feel the pain in the music. It wasn't like, I don't know, it was just like he went in there and it was just like what was on his chest. He smoked a blunt and just be spitting like how he really feel about some shit. How he feel like a song about his mom, like it's just crazy how he did it.
Beans was definitely a force to be reckoned with back in the day. You know what I'm saying? As far as early Rockefeller days, like if you ever get a chance, go on YouTube, listen to the Hot 97 freestyles.
I listen to freestyles all the time on Hot 97. I go on there all the time. Whenever I'm like bored on YouTube, I'll just watch freestyles all day. And I love beats too. So for example, like I'll go I'll be like, man, I want to listen to what Bink made, like on what's the name. So I'll just go to the title and click on your thing and then just do a whole playlist of just all the shit you made, or like wherever producer that I love, like, or listen to. I'll just listen to their whole catalog the whole way down. Because that's the only thing I like about Tidal, that you can do that. You can look up different producers and.
Yeah, I was hyped when I seen I had a playlist up there.
Yeah.
They had a playlist for me up there and Apple.
Oh yeah, they do got both. I listen to both. This is one DJ. This is one producer I like too. Now he been making a lot of records, but he pretty good too. DJ
Dahi.
Dahi, yeah.
Yeah, Dahi's dope. Dahi's super dope. I give it to him. Yeah, I'm a fan of him too. So, Dahi, yeah, and I like T Minus is one of my favorites.
What song he do?
Look at you, now look at us. All my niggas is rich as fuck. Boom, boom. That's one. And did a whole bunch of shit for Drake. Drop it down for a real nigga, that jump.
Yeah.
Nah, he like T Minus is a problem.
I'm about to listen to him. I'm about to listen to him. But I'm also too. I also listen to like a lot of African music too. So it's like I always listen to a lot of African music and a lot of different sound. And like I'm one of those people. Oh yeah, it's just, and then it's like Fela Kuti, like, and then like it's just like these other artists, and then like this Cubano and African music mixed together. Like just like the instruments is like what I just listen to the instruments, like because you gotta listen to 3 minutes of instruments before the song even come on. Dun, 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 Viva! Yeah, like you gotta listen to a whole bunch of shit before they even say anything. They might say 20 words in the whole song. You're like, damn, that's good.
No, I love live instrumentation. I don't know if you ever been to a live like salsa, like what Spanish salsa club.
Yeah.
Like you have to go if you've never been, just to experience like the music and that shit with the upright bass and the timbales and the guitar and the piano. It's insane. I lived in Jersey, so I had a lot of Spanish friends that would take me to the Spanish club and listen to the live salsa. It was insane.
But it's crazy though, because it's like when music now, you don't really hear a lot of live instrumentation. It's kind of like, and like those little like when I talk about raw airs and all those little different things, and you hear like those little small like instruments in the back, you're like, oh, that's good. Like I was listening to Sun Ra, like like Sun Ra, like some of the instruments that they use, like jazz and stuff. It's just crazy. Like those are like, I guess those are real like artists or how they do stuff. But it blew my mind how, like the amount of things. But it's so crazy though, because you talk about African music. I remember the first time I went to Africa, and that shit blew my mind too. Like that shit was crazy, like because it was like one of those things.
Never been, yo. I have to most definitely go.
I feel like every African American person has to go to Africa, and then it would all make sense. It's going to make sense. It's going to make so much sense.
You been to that place called the Point of No Return? Have you been there?
Yeah, that's where I went, because I'm actually my ancestors from that country, so I went there. I spent a lot of time there. I went there. I was there for two weeks. I went to Senegal for 2 weeks, because I got like a school out there. There's stuff for girls and crime and building stuff for schools and stuff. So I was out there like a long time working and stuff. Man, like that's the shit that tried to change my life too. Like when I was out there, like, man, I used to be up late at night, man, outside just crying though, bro, because it was just so heavy, like the burden of like literally sitting there like underneath the sun, looking up at the stars, and it's so dark outside, and you really thinking like, damn, my grandmother was stolen from here, like who knows, like what her daddy, like I was like, dang, I couldn't imagine like my daughter being stolen and I can't find out where she is and what's happened to her. Like that shit was kind of messing my brain though, like because it was just like that's what my grandma went through. She was on a boat, she didn't know where she would go, and she made a life. Like she literally made a life, and I'm back here where she started it. Like that's a lot heavy for a young person. And I was thinking like, why am I the first person to go right here? Why am I the first person to want to search this? Why am I the only person that wants to realize like how important DNA is to our true story of what we are and where we are, like knowing what we are, like my tribe that I come from is storytelling. Like it's about storytelling. It's about cultural heritage, it's food and everything, and it's about standing up on what you believe in. Like my village of warriors, so like it's no coincidence that everything that I am as a human being now is attached to those cultural values that's in my blood and in my DNA.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I think the biggest hang up for blacks is that we can't put solidarity before the bag.
Whew. That part, definitely. You say that part.
That part, you know what I'm saying? It's like that's where we get stuck at. That's why I'm so intrigued by this is one video I seen on Instagram a couple of years ago, and apparently they have fired this Mexican dude at this plant. You know what I'm saying? So whole bunch of machine workers. So him and all his Mexican friends straight turned their machines off, bro. They're like, we out. You gonna fire Jesus, we all out. You know what I'm saying? And black dude was them like, yo, look, they all leaving. Yo, that's crazy. Because we would never do that for each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We would never do that.
No, I think it's like we come together for certain things, like when it's like police violence and hold on one second. Hold on one second. Yeah, we come together for certain things, but it's like one of those things too. Like we come together for like we have to start coming together and making we start coming together and like for things like that, like using our political power and our amount of people that we have to really crush the system to make the justice that we want or make the opportunity that we want.
I mean, the world is just like the jail. You know, we always outnumber the guards. But the catch is everybody be on the same page. That's the catch.
Yeah.
Everybody being locked up on one accord. You know what I'm saying? So that's the biggest challenge ever. But we always outnumber the guards. You know what I'm saying? That's just something to think about.
But also too, I think it's too like I feel like as an African American man or African American women and African American kids, like we never really are taught about like the importance of like collectively coming together. We more are taught like the individual statistics of people, like right, the individuality of Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. Like we don't really talk about like the whole idea of people coming together. We're so quick to highlight and just certain people in it, and they become like the Messiah effect that we like, oh, somebody needs to be the Messiah. But when we come to group politics and group togetherness, they can't figure out who is who because all of us have the same message and we have the same highlight. And I just think it's just sometimes it's so much about survival that it's like sometimes like we don't even realize like it's not always about survival. Sometimes it's about maintaining.
Once again, solidarity. Just standing as one. If we say, hey, we ain't doing Gucci, it should be nothing to talk about. Nobody but Black people, man. They did a number on us. So it's like people just be like, man, I like Gucci. Like they ain't do nothing to me. We know they did nothing to you per se, but to the, it did something to her or him. So it's like we gotta stand together for that. Like, man, F that. Like I ain't doing that.
But it goes back to material things too, because then material things. Now you going right back to what you said at the beginning too, because it's like the material things. We have to get over the materialism has become our currency. Like right, if we have a certain thing on that, it kind of puts us in a system like, oh, this person, this class, like if he has this on, he's upper class. So everybody's trying to search and get to that what is going to put them into that category of being who they want to be or who they say they are instead of being exactly what they are. So I feel like material things kind of put people in that position to be like, man, I can't stop wearing Gucci. People not gonna think I'm rich anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's one of those things too, but it's like, like it's like in the Bible and Jesus and John the Baptist was talking about, about how like when we come into God or we come into a situation where we have to come naked, right? And it's the sense of that, like when we come to our realization that it isn't about our outside or what we're wearing, it's about our inner peace, like our inner selves, like if we could come truly conquer our inner selves, then we don't have to worry about what we're wearing on the outside because we'd be comfortable with who we are on the inside.
Never. I can't never see that happen. You know what I'm saying?
I can see that happening one day. But I also think music is a part of that, right? Because back in the day, like music was what got people free in slavery, like dancing, like keeping up. Like music is so important to African American people. Like I think that we forgot the power of what our music is. Like our music is everything. Music started in Africa. Like the actual music and everything, it comes from the essence of our figuring out how to make the sounds that it makes. And we brought that around the world. The African slave brought that around the world. They brought that around the world. And it's like, we forgot how important music is to our psyche and how important music is to changing the trajectory of our youth. Like, right, whatever our youth is doing, it's going to be an outsource of what's happening within the music. You know what I'm saying? Like, music is missing that link to that past. Or like, what you said that day to me is true too. I mean, people that are doing that aren't getting as highlighted as the people who aren't doing it too. So, but it's because nobody wants to go independent no more. Everybody has to go through the eyes of people who control the music, and they're looking for a certain thing. There's no reason why Tekashi 6ix9ine should be having 50 million streams on his videos.
Oh, absolutely should have a reason, because young white America don't give two shits about street code. That's some bullshit we on. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't care nothing about he snitched. They like that song.
Yeah.
Period. So I bet somebody some money on this, and I can't remember who it was. You know what I'm saying? And they was like, no, he ain't gonna be big. I said, bro, he gonna be just as big as he was before he left. Now he has a story.
Very true.
He got a testimony now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you almost died. Dude knocked his baby mama off. You know what I'm saying? You got arrested and got out.
Yeah, you're right.
It was a movie. Like, this is some Gail Sayers rapper movie shit now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. Like, it's nuts to think of it that way. But that's what it is, bro. Like, the average person don't give two shits about no street code.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Plus, I've been seeing dudes snitching for 20 years.
That's true too.
You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, did it ever come to a point in the NFL where that y'all were even close to protesting against the league at all, like as a whole?
I mean, it's been always that, but it's it goes back to what you said. I think in this whole conversation, like some of the beginning, the root things that you said is like the rooted things and why the division doesn't work, right? Because it goes back to some people don't want to put the longevity of the league before the bag. Like what is it gonna look like for players after us? Like we so much thinking about how we feel and how it's gonna make us feel, but we won't even take 1 second to realize that there's people who's gonna impact. Our decisions have major impact, have major cause and effects that we haven't been equipped to really understand what those things really mean.
So how you feel about the Rooney Rule proposal?
I feel like the Rooney Rule is so jaded because I feel like there's an importance of players too, because players haven't really took a stance on what does it look like for Black coaches, right? And it's like, but a lot of players end up becoming coaches, and it's like if we aren't equipped to really back the coaches and back their journey, it's like it goes back to we're divided again. Like he looked like us, he sounded like us, but he in another thing. But it's like no, they affected him, and that's affecting us because at the end of the day, the reason why he's not getting a job is because of his race. It isn't because of his skill, it's because of his race. And that's an issue for all of us. And I feel like the Rooney Rule is, to me, it's a difference between rules and laws. Like rules are not governed like laws. And I think if it's a Rooney, it should be the Rooney law, not the Rooney Rule, because rules, there's so many different ways you could do a rule. You can run it, you could do this, you could do that. But laws, they're governed and they have punishment behind them. So I think it needs to be laws.
Which is the same scenario with why we only have a bill to vote and not the right to vote.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So it's like they got to keep renewing it.
Yeah.
And nobody talks about that. Like, why do we have something that needs to be renewed when it should just be what it is? You know what I'm saying?
Well, people don't want to talk about the temporary like world that we live in. Like the world is constantly changing, and sometimes we get so caught up in the past, which the past is important, but we have to have to keep up to what they're doing currently so we can make sure that how it was in the past, they don't go back to that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. You know, it's like history, like, you know, history, like it just keeps repeating itself because it's like they always put the rich minority on camera that has no concept of struggle or of the struggle. So it paints a picture to everybody. That's why it blows me away when people say, yo, Trump is bringing back all the racism. I say, what you mean he bringing it back?
It never left.
It never left. So what are we talking about right now?
But that's why I think sometimes when people like Puff Daddy or somebody gets on, is his name still Puff Daddy?
This week, I don't know. They would think it's Love this week. I don't know. But we'll go with Puff.
Yeah. Hold on, my wife said she needed. Hold on, sorry. She told me she me here. But like he was on there with CNN and him and Magic Johnson was talking, and I was just like, him and Magic Johnson was talking, and and then they was talking, and it's just like they are so disconnected to what is like really being on those streets now, what is really like being out there, and they talking from position of power, which is you need that, but I think it's a connection between organic and political leadership that's important. See, I think about Jay-Z rock music thing, right? It's brunch, like it's a brunch, right? And it's just like a whole bunch of people getting together, dressing up, saying they're at the rock brunch and doing this, like, oh man, toast to this. Nothing wrong with that. We should be celebrating. It's important that we celebrate. But what about the movement? Like, what about like this is what needs to happen in music? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like those steps or this is what we need to be doing. This is what we need to be saying. Like we have people in those positions of leadership, and they may say it to the common people, but they don't say it to the people who have other platforms who can use their platforms to really carry out a message and really carry out something great.
What else you got going off? You know, since you're not playing football anymore, what outside of your podcast, what else you got cracking?
I'm doing. I mean, I sold my books. I'm doing a TV show. I'm making an album right now. Doing all kinds of stuff, man. It's just all kinds of crazy stuff.
Show world, huh?
Yeah,
Show
I feel like
world, son.
creativity is something that's just like, I feel like creativity is the next step to we have to be creatively free to really, because I feel like a lot of people have so many passions and things that they want to do, but they stay inside that boundary because being creative is fear. Like it's fearful to try to be creative because so much judgment comes with those, the concepts of trying to be free, you know what I'm saying? So the concepts of having creativity is one of those things. So that's one reason why, because I feel like even like with music, I've always loved music. I've always rapped on these different things and like freestyle and all these different things. I'm like, man, why not put something together and make something great and just put it out and be like, man, this is what I want to do. There was no record label behind me, no nothing. I just created what I wanted to create. It wasn't to do nothing. It was just to have a message and continue the message that I've always taught and what I always believed in.
I mean, that's why I'm kind of, not kind of, I'm actually happy that I'm involved with you with doing the album. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't nothing like being around like-minded people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That understand and feel the same way you feel about certain situations. So when we bouncing ideas off each other, it's like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Hey, let's talk about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I think it's important too, because like, one thing you always tell me, like, bro, like you want to be authentic enough to where it makes sense. Like it's like you have to be able to say stuff like, and I think that's where it comes in for like when you working with somebody like you and you work on it, it's like, because it's like certain ways you can say something, but it's so blunt that it doesn't put any artistry behind it. It's like when you say, like, when you put it into a way that is such in a thought-provoking way, and it's like, that's where the artistry comes in, because there's a difference between speaking and then actually making people think,
And that's what Dave Chappelle is so great at.
Yeah.
Touching on issues, making a joke out of it, but making you think at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just like, what's the other dude? Eddie Griffin.
Oh yeah. Oh man, Eddie Griffin's Showtime special, Enigma. I don't care. Nobody said that was the funniest shit on TV. That was the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Those two guys, like, I really, and then George Carlin. I don't know if you know anything about George Carlin.
Oh yes, the white guy. He was great.
But he touched on a lot of political issues. You know what I'm saying? And brought comedy to it, but at the same time brought awareness. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it's just great to be able to do this project with you and actually try to enlighten our people and wake them up at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
And I think people are gonna be really crazy too, because like even like some of the stuff, like when they hear the music, they're gonna be like, man, like, because it's so like people hear athletes doing music, it's so like
Cliche.
It's so like, it's corny almost. It's so corny because they're trying to be like other people that they hear. Yeah, I might be off in a second.
I'll play till 1:30.
Okay, yeah, we're about to be done. But it's just so it's so cliche, like you said, it's really corny, and like it's like there's no continuity behind it, and that's why it's cool, like, work with somebody like you, because it's like we're not doing that. That's not that. If you want to do that, I'm not even gonna let you do that. Like, that's not. If you gonna do that, you
I'm not finna give you a fake amigo record right quick. I ain't gonna do that to you. You know what I'm saying? We ain't doing that. You know what I mean? Like, we trying to put some meat and potatoes in this shit. Like, no, not just a whole bunch of sides. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I want to make sure. But is there a team that you wish you would have played for that you didn't play for?
Man, the only team I think I would wish I would play for, probably Atlanta Falcons. I just love
Mike Vick time.
No, just anytime. I just love the colors. It's like a dope city. Atlanta's like a dope city. Like, it's like a whole different vibe from going to Atlanta Falcons game and to going to any other games. Like, any other games you walk in, it's like super white, right? But then you go to Atlanta Falcons, it's like everybody at the game. Future, like, it's just a whole bunch of every single. It's a turn up. Like, the music in the stadium is different. Everything about the Atlanta Falcons stadium is different. Like, it's actually like black people sitting in the front. It's just a nice vibe to like walk into a situation and just feel like, dang, like, this is like cool. Like I can only imagine what it feels like to grow up in Atlanta, like, versus growing up in somewhere like Louisiana, like it's two different vibes. Like you grew up in one place where judges and principals and everything is black, and then you grew up in another place and it's the complete opposite. So I was like Atlanta because I'm like, man, that stadium, the way that crowd be going,
like to me, Atlanta is our black LA.
It is.
Because when you go to LA or Miami, you're gonna see Ferraris, Phantoms, you know what I'm saying? And it's mainly whites that's driving those cars.
Yeah.
But when you go to Atlanta, you see those same cars, and it's all black people driving these joints. It's like, wow, so I can get one of those.
Bro,
you know
it's
what I mean?
crazy. It's like, he's like, this is a black lawyer? Like, it's just like a lot of like, it's just a lot of like, everything is African-American. And it's kind of crazy because I went to Haiti in my mind. Like, I'm thinking that Haiti is like free, like, and I'm thinking all these different things. And when I get to Haiti, I'm thinking it's going to be like Atlanta, right? And it's like, it was a complete opposite. And so it was like, it kind of messed my mind up too, because I'm like, dang, Haiti's the first free country. Like it must be rocking over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was the complete opposite. But Atlanta was a team. Atlanta was a team that I always wanted to play for, just because of the simple fact that the stadium used to be crunk. New Orleans is crunk too, but Atlanta, I couldn't play in New Orleans, too much family there. But Atlanta was always a team I was like, man, I was so close to going there twice, but man, I didn't.
Well, shit, I know wife be pulling on you. You know what I'm saying? Well, I appreciate you taking the time out to talk to me, brother. Chop it up.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me on.
And I gotta do yours next. So let me know.
All right, yes, sir. All right.
All right, bro.
Sure.
Thanks, man.
Bink, the humble monster.